My lords, godlike entities exist throughout our galaxy, as indeed do many pretenders. Today, I'm going to explore the question of just how much influence a single leader has, or rather, how powerful can one person become. To do this, we are going to explore an array of possibilities and outcomes. We will attempt to squeeze every last drop of potential out of a single person. And we are going so big, we may even need a montage. Leaders, official scientists and commanders are ranked in level from 1 to 10. Their traits increase various outputs. Officials, for example, depending on the job role, can increase trade value or decrease empire size, whereas a commander can increase ship fire rate of the fleet that they're commanding. We'll start with those leaders loved only by their mothers and end with those adored by all. For the baseline, let me introduce to you Dolores Mwanga. She is, in the year 2200, the leader of the United Nations of Earth. At the relatively young age of 36, she's clearly accomplished much, given that she now leads an entire FTL-capable civilization. However, on the galactic stage, she's at the bottom, a mere level 1. For context, our leader, the great and powerful Grand Marshal Sidney Beauclair, starts as a level 3 leader, due to the Commonwealth of Man having the Distinguished Admiralty Civic. Sidney is also younger at 34 years. What a woman. Despite my adoration for our Grand Marshal, neither Sidney nor Dolores can compete with the very best, with the creme de la creme of potential leaders. So let's see what we can do to supercharge their power. Since Sidney is already at level 3, we'll use her as our template. Leader levels will increase steadily as they work throughout the Empire, but they do need to actually work to increase their experience. A governor, for example, will see experience gains when they're working as a ruler, when buildings or districts are completed, or they sit on the council. They'll receive nothing if they're not on the council or not governing a planet, essentially if they're unemployed. Commanders will also see those boons when acting as a governor, but will get experience gains acting as admirals when they destroy ships, as one would expect. Leaders will start out at level 1 and require 400 experience to level up to level 2. This increases to 1100 experience to increase to level 3 from level 2, and by the time you get to level 9, you'll need 17,500 experience points to reach level 10, the maximum level available. Now, Sidney will increase in experience and level, of course, over time, but the expansion of the Commonwealth waits for no man or woman. So how can we speed the process up? There are many ways that we can increase the starting level of leaders, which I'll come on to shortly, but for now, we have lots of ways to increase leader experience gain. These include councillor traits, species traits, various traditions, specimens, and so on. There are a ton of ways to increase leader experience gain and speed up the process. But there's also two mechanics: effective councillor skill and effective leader skill. Effective councillor skill causes leaders to provide greater bonuses at their effective level, i.e. a level 4 councillor with +3 effective councillor skill becomes an effective level 7 councillor when governing on the council. Effective leader skill literally applies to the leader rather than their specific role on the council, so effective leader skill is far more valuable, and we'll explore just how high we can get with those later on. These two features combined can really help turbocharge leaders' experience, but the process is still fairly slow. Indeed, for more context, to reach level 10 from level 1, a leader requires 54,000 experience. For a governor on a planet to reach level 10 without any bonuses, they would need to manage that planet for 4,500 months, 375 years. With a 50% leader experience bonus, and assuming you've had this from day 1, which is perhaps slightly unreasonable, this person would still take 2,057 months or 171 years to go from level 1 to level 10. This is of course a long time, and we may very well be able to keep Sidney alive for another 171 years. The Commonwealth needs a strong and capable leader today. I'm aware that entropy drinkers can massively increase their leader experience gain. Entropy drinkers, as somewhat the name suggests, can funnel entropy into themselves. What this means in reality is that their society, the elites specifically, steal life force of the lower classes over time. This translates into increased leader lifespan and upkeep, but the key component is with a building called the Leeching Tower. This increases leader experience gain, and you can build one on each planet. Here is a lovely example showing 389% leader experience gain from jobs, which is more or less from this single building. Now, I only have 24 planets in this example. You could take it much higher if you wanted to. Using our previous example, a leader sat governing a planet, and this time on the council as well, with the 389% buff, would reach level 10 in a mere 631 months, or 53 years. Much better, but it's still quite slow. Thus, my lords, we need to up our game. It will clearly take many years for Sydney to reach her potential, so why don't we just start with a more effective leader? To do this, let's start with a robot-type empire. If we take Distinguished Admiralty, which we've learned gives us a +2 commander leader level, and Warbots, a machine intelligence specific civic, we can start with level 5 commanders. Now you can also set your empire to spawn with a commander as its overall leader. This would give you on game start 2 level 5 commanders. These can of course be used to great effect, depending on the job that you have them work, providing decreases in empire size and job efficiency as governors, or increasing ship fire rate as admirals. The small caveat, however, means that you're probably unlikely going to be able to afford to hire new commanders, as at level 5 they cost 1000 unity and cost 5 unity upkeep per month. This is of course a substantial cost to any new empire. Now, level 5 is average. It's not uncommon at all to see level 5, and we want bigger. Going back to our original leader experience calculation, starting at level 5 only saves you 7000 experience, which is required to get to level 10. This does decrease the time from 375 years to 223, assuming 0% leader experience gain, but in reality it's a minor increase, so we need to start with more leader levels. What can we do? Well, if we also look at origins and try out some different civics. Under One Rule is a well-known and popular origin. It's likely a favourite of many of you watching. Its unique selling point comes in the form of the Luminary, aka your special leader. This leader brought peace and prosperity to your empire, and is the living symbol of what your species can achieve. Indeed, they can fulfill a wonderful goal for us today. The Luminary starts with +3 level increase, putting them at level 4 straight off the bat. Which is nice, but of course it's still below our robot counterpart. If we add the civics Distinguished Admiralty, which we saw earlier with our robot friends, that gets us to level 6, and a second civic, Vaults of Knowledge, gets us to level 7. Vaults of Knowledge is a lovely civic that provides not only 1+ leader starting skill, but also an effective councillor skill, meaning that while sitting on the council, this leader is now level 8. Now this is a handy segue, as we need to look at effective skill, both leader and councillor, as they're different. We have leader levels, which is what we've been discussing. This caps at 10. We also have effective leader skill. This is a mechanic that allows leaders to act as if they were above the 10 cap, meaning the various boosts that you get, i.e. reducing empire size or fire rates, can go even higher. When you mouse over the rate, you times it by the level your leader is to give you what it actually does. We've established that level 7 is the maximum possible leader starting level, but let's use our effective leader mechanism to go even higher. The first thing we need to do is transform our lovely elf queen to a psionic bird, because we need the spatial mastery trait. This trait gives us +1 effective leader level, meaning we're still at level 7 but the effective skill is level 8. We're talking about leader skill specifically here. If we put our leader to work and come back once they've reached level 10, but remember with the trait we're now at an effective level of 11. But let's go higher. The aptitude tradition, specifically Champions of the Empire, gives us another point, putting us on effective level 12. If we ascend biologically and take mutation 2 as a flex, we can get one more from somatic subversiveness, putting us on 13. Now, I had originally planned to add backup clones for an additional 2, which would have taken us up to 15. Alas, it has moved to the same slot as mutation, meaning if we swap out the mutation trait and bring in the cloning trait, we're at 14. The final step is to take the mutagenic Spar Civic. Now this civic is an oddity. Essentially, it allows your leaders to become substance abusers. Hilariously, infusing your leaders with drugs seems to be the single most effective leader increase in all the galaxy, giving them another 3 to effective levels. This only applies to the leaders specifically governing the planet with the Spar on it. Nevertheless, it means that our theoretical maximum effective leader level will be 17. Now this provides us with many wonderful bonuses, such as a 34% reduced empire size from POPs, or a marvellous 68% job efficiency from enforcers and telepaths. Incidentally, if we drop the mutagenic Spar buff, we can still acquire 14, giving fleet commanders a whopping 42% fire rate increase. Now my lords, I'm impressed with this. We've reached the maximum effective leader level of 17. What about the Councillor mechanic that I touched on earlier? And a special thanks to Cackle for assisting me in hunting down some of these buffs. This one can go higher. It is however a bit different, since remember, it only applies to the specific job that the Councillor is doing, and it will only work on leaders who are in your council. So for example, if your Councillor is a Minister of Defence, they would reduce ship, starbase and army upkeep by 2% per level. Now already that's quite something, but let's see how high we can take it. If we continue with our psionic Birdman portrait, since they are a psionic species, we can give them uncanny intuition, effectively giving them +2 effective Councillor level, and because they're a bird, spatial mastery, which as you've seen gives us +1 leader level. To save confusion, I'll combine them at this point, although I reiterate this will only affect the leader's ability to govern while on the council. The Entropy Drinker Civic, which we touched on earlier, comes with a wonderful edict, Convergence of Will. This gives us another 2, putting us at 5. Choosing an oligarchic government type gives us another 2, meaning that we're now at 7. If you were to pick Shadow Council alongside this for another +1, and our third civic being Bolts of Knowledge for 1 more, puts us at 9. The Departmental Efficiency Agenda, which you can acquire from Statecraft, provides +2, and the Statecraft tradition itself gives us +1. This takes us up to +12. While we're here, we may as well take the Aptitude tradition, which remember is leader level rather than Councillor, but nevertheless it works for our purposes, giving us +13. The Curators, those lovely lore-loving folks, can, after you complete a row in your Grand Archive, offer you a relic to look after. They will choose 2 possible relics out of a pool for their respective category, and you can choose one of the 2. Should RNG favour you, the Galactic History offering will give you either the Executus Compendium, which passively gives you +1 leader skill, or the Prototype VIR Core, which is frankly better for our purposes, as on activation it provides a whopping +4 Councillor skill, taking us to +17. Sadly, you can't get both of these relics at the same time, though that would be quite nice. Realistically though, we are now on a level 27 leader. Sheesh, truly reaching godlike proportions. I did think of ways that we could maybe get this a little higher, and one option was using the Purity Ascension with an Imperial government type to become Biotic Dominion. Now this increases effective leader level by the number of spent trait points. Without too much modification, you should be able to achieve 10 trait points, giving you an effective level of 15. Of course, if you repeated some of the other steps to push it even higher, you could almost certainly get your effective leader level into the 30s. And it could go even higher if you could find more trait points. Alas, I did have a wonderful thought that maybe we could steal an Evo Predator pop and somehow mash it into our Purity government. Sadly, the Purity people have thought about that, and the calculation is done on trait points rather than number of traits. Nevertheless, I present to you the best leader in all the galaxy.